Rooted and rising family, welcome in, welcome in. Let's do hopefully something short and sweet. Let's see how it goes. I want to see, of course, Marco is here as well. He has to make his presence known, that his energy is here. All right, y'all. Let's see what Spirit has to say for us today. Of course, sometimes you can pre-pull and you can kind of get a feel of it, but I like to just see what it is and just be surprised along with you all. Okay, so let's ring the sound bowl and then we get to see what Spirit has for us today, right? Makes me smile. It does. I don't know. Love it. And then mine is small, so that the tone of it is a bit higher. Then the bigger ones have a deeper sound, deeper vibration. I love it. Anyway, so disclaimers that we just have to make, of course. Take what resonates, leave what does not. Don't force it to fit. Everything is not for everybody, okay? So some things may, feel like, wow, this connects with me, and other things, irrelevant, all right? Disregard what doesn't. Maybe store it, because sometimes it may be relevant for you later, or if it's something that you want to share. Otherwise, entertainment, right? Nothing wrong with that, all right? Masculine, feminine. We're speaking of energies, not necessarily gender. So when we get a heavily feminine card like the Empress, it doesn't mean that we're talking about a female necessarily, or take what resonates. My preference, obviously, is male. So you may hear me speak that way. But again, you have to apply things how they fit in your preference. Okay, so my preference may not be your preference, and I'm not putting my preference on you. You put yourself wherever you feel like you belong in those energies, okay? All right, I'm excited. So let's see what Spirit has for us today, or what may be addressed today. You don't know. You know what? It'll be fun. Oh. All right. Let's start with an oracle deck. Let's start with an unspoken truth. And then that kind of gives us persons. That'd be fun, right? Oh, let's see it. All right. So let's see. Let's see an unspoken truth. And then we can kind of see if this is divine masculine, divine feminine energy, if this is situational. All right. Just because, these cards may deal with people. Sometimes when we pull the tarot, they're saying it's not a person, this is a situation. I love this card. It's so pretty. You have come further than you think. And we know that can either be speaking of our divine feminine or divine masculine. That could be a message to our divine masculine or a message to our divine feminine, from either party. You have come further than you think. That may be something that we all need to hear, right? Rooted and rising. All right, let's do one more from this deck. This is the Unspoken Truth Oracle deck. I like it. That's what it looks like. So, for those who are curious or just into it and say, oh, what deck is that? Oh, that one was... Oh, you moved on, haven't you? Okay, that's falling away. Can't keep it in my hands, but that's what this card is. So we're going to see whose unspoken truth that is. But it kind of fell away. It was like, oops, gone. So it may be an old fear. I like the bottom card. You are worthy of love. No proof needed. So it sounds like someone may need some encouraging words. All right, rooted and rising. From previous reads, looks like you've kind of been through some ordeals anyway, but maybe you need to hear that you've come further than you think and you're worthy of love. No proof is needed. You moved on, haven't you? It came out, but it said fruit, like in, maybe that was an old fear. Who knows, of someone. And then this one actually came out too. There are things I never got the chance to tell you. All right. Well, let's see. Let's see through Tarot, maybe, what energy is being represented here. But again, last reading did speak about not being able to read each other's mind. And this almost sounds like a divine pairing, just not talking to one another. This doesn't even sound like just one. But we're going to take these three. This is a fear. All right, you've moved on, haven't you? But it went poop. So maybe it's a fear that's kind of fading away. And then these three, you've come further than you think. Something that someone maybe needs to hear. These are unspoken truths. You are worthy of love. No proof is needed. And there are things I never got to tell you. Last message was about speaking up. Oh, wow. So this may be for both divine feminine, divine masculine. Let's see what our tarot says. You know, I always want to go very quickly, but I never end up doing it. Oh, but let's see. This tarot deck we are using, I normally tell you, right? So I'm going to tell you this time. Oh, everything's flopping out. Energy is high. Yeah, energy is high. We won't take all of these because they won't be. Grim Tales Tarot is, you know, traditional tarot deck, as in traditional, you know, usage, like the Rider-Waite traditional deck, but just Grim Tales Tarot, you know, the Grimm, the Brothers Grimm and all the fairy tales. So these cards kind of will represent all those, you know, a little on the darker side, but represents all those kind of grim stories. All right. Some of them are flipped the wrong way. Let's see. I don't like bending my cards. I just don't. Maybe we will today. This tape is kind of slippery. I need to get a mat. Yeah. This is the Queen of Wands. I mean, Queen of Wands. Why do I keep saying Queen of Wands energy? Queen of Wands is very confident, very fiery, very magnetic, you know, kind of like, you know, when you say a woman, like I'm saying, you'll say redheads, typical fiery, real fiery energy, confident, usually magnetic, pretty good looking at times, or something that draws you to her. She's kind of like the Empress, where she draws you in. But the Empress, you know, will speak of a different avenue because she's as abundant and will nurture. But this is Queen of Pentacles. Rooted and rising, you cannot get away from Pentacle energy. There's something about you that's very grounded, very stable, very real, you know, very real. Not to say, you know, other energies like our fire, our air, is not saying you don't need those things, all right? But this is the, you know, stability of it all, the realness of it. Because at times we need to be fiery, right? On the move, on the go, creative energy, passionate. And at times we need to be airy, which on, you know, communication or just in our thoughts, process things, discern things, all right? And then we need this as well. But anyway, Queen of Pentacles is on the bottom of the deck, and the Two of Wands, I'm just laughing because these are both things that Rooted and Rising doesn't seem to be able to get away from. Two of Wands comes before the Three of Wands. Three of Wands, you get all the time about that expansive energy, you know, you put it out there, you make it go, you're waiting on the expectation, but you're still working, right? Two of Wands is the planning, you know, the thoughts, you know, how can I make this happen? The business plan, you know, or if it's a connection, you know, you're trying to put things in order. All right, that's like putting things in order to get to the Queen of Pentacles, King of Wands. Yeah, that's what's going on. Again, King of Wands. He's still fiery, passionate, but he's confident. He goes towards what he wants strategically. Why? And that's what's on the bottom now. King of Wands. All right. Let's see what we get. Six of Swords. Yeah. Like I said in the beginning. Six of Swords. This does look kind of grim. Ha ha ha. I'm so funny, aren't I? But this does look a little morbid, doesn't it? All right. Six of Swords. In a traditional deck, you will see a woman in a boat, and almost Grim Reaper style. And, you know, what is behind is kind of darker, and what is ahead is light, and the person is, you know, rowing the woman onto something in the light. So Six of Swords is you leaving something behind. So something that wasn't the best, you're leaving it behind. All right. That can be relational circumstances, whatever it is, but you're going forward to calmer water, even though she kind of doesn't look like it. But remember, Sleeping Beauty does get awakened by the kiss, you know, of her prince. So, you know, they're taking her to go get awakened. All right, but Six of Swords does talk about leaving, you know, not so good things behind and going forward towards something that's more clear. It's still sword energy, right? It's mental, but it's clear. You know, something brighter, something better. All right, so that leads maybe we can pinpoint who is being addressed in that one. Let's see what we get next. Get a good fun energy. Because Unspoken Truth has a lot to say. Hey, there is things that I never got to tell you. Sorry, I never told you. You don't want that kind of energy. All I wanted to say. That's what it is. Except for we're not shining down on anybody passing away. We're gonna say it before that happens, right? Mariah Carey and Boyz II Men. What's coming out? Three of Pentacles. Three of Pentacles. Building energy. All right, that's collaboration. That's coming together to build something and to grow something together, which can speak of business, which can speak of, you know, other types of networkings, you know, and building with other people who may have different capabilities, you know, that you don't, and you're combining your energies together and what you are, you know, your expertise together to build something together. But in relational things, since I pulled from the Unspoken Truth, probably relational things, that has to do with wanting to build together. All right, divine partnership, building and creating something together. Yes, you can build and create things that are, you know, not just your tangible everyday lives together, but you can also build together in whatever you are creating. All right, whatever your creative outlet is. Again, it doesn't matter if it's not music and art. If you're making it, you're creating it. All right, maybe you will build a business or grow a business together. You'll help each other out. All right, that's divine partnership right there, or that's collaboration in other ways. Again, what fits with you, what does not, what does not. But Three of Pentacles is very much taking what you know and taking what that person knows, bringing it together and building something together, okay? One doesn't have to be an expert where the other one is. You know, you can always find ways to help. All right, reminds me of thinking my parents' little, where my parents lived, a little, what do they call it, a little suburb community. Lord have mercy. You know how they kind of can contract. Sometimes, you know, contractors will come out, probably paid by the city or so, to do something. And it was a couple, they were doing something. I don't know. He had to get out. The man would have had to continue to get out of a truck. This was a truck that, you know, you had to go get a license to drive, you know, a CDL to drive. You couldn't just, you know, have a regular driver's license and drive it. But who was driving it was his wife. She was driving it because he had to do the entire kind of area. So he had to go around. And what he would have had, he could have done it by himself. Yeah, he could have gotten it done, you know, but it would have taken him longer. He would have had to continue, you know, do whatever he had to do, you know, fix whatever he had to fix, and then get back in the truck and then move it, you know. And she literally sat in that truck And all he would do is say, okay, baby, now move it on up. And that's all she did was move the truck up. Now, she didn't have to know. She probably didn't know how to do what he knew how to do. But she knew enough to go past the CDL and learn how to drive a truck, so she could just do that. So they can move together. Okay, she didn't have to be an expert. You know what I mean? But that is a help, a big help. It saved him a lot of time, a lot of energy, and they're building together. She's doing the part that she can do. He's doing the part that he can do, all right? She found a way to work together. That's what this energy kind of looks like. Yeah. You know, couples do that all the time. I know, way back when we lived more rural, and you had to pay somebody to, cut the lawn. I don't cut the lawn. I'm not that I'm too good. It just, that's just, I stay in my lane. And no, it's probably not hard. You just don't want me to do stuff like that. Not if you want it done right. But, it was a couple, they worked together, this was their side hustle. She would get and just do the regular old riding on the mower. She literally would. And when she was done, she'd get back in the truck. And he was doing all of the extra stuff that comes on with landscape and all that extra stuff. She did her part and sat down. So if this is finding what you can do and working together. Okay, I know I get a little long-winded, but I just want to give an example. Okay, I'll move on to the next card. But this looks like a divine pairing. I'm trying to figure out how this kind of goes with the you come further than you think. You are worthy of love. No proof is needed. There are things that I never got a chance to tell you, but I just think it's just piggybacking on the last message when Spirit was clear about that King of Cups energy, holding what you feel inside and not letting the other person know. But this doesn't seem to be just addressing the divine masculine. This is addressing, seems like, both energies. Let's see what we get next from the tarot. Let's see. 5:55. That's what time it is. Wow. Page of Swords. Speaks of changes, very, lots of changes, lots of things changing in your life around you. 5:55. All right, Page of Swords for people who, some people, you know what I'm saying? Story time. All right, Page of Swords. That's beautiful. Yeah, this is about speaking up. So I was thinking maybe there is an energy that's specifically being addressed. Page of Swords. The pages it's like a small start. Page of Swords, but it's still about truth. It's our sword energy, truth, clarity. It's like communicating a truth, because our swords can be just about their thoughts, but it's also about communication. And I'm saying communication here because of the Oracle card. There are things I never got to tell you. All right. So for me, since we have the Page of Swords here, Swords is about communication. Page is, like a small start, a curiosity, something small. All right. It needs to be communicated here. All right. This is not just talking to one energy. All right. There is a card in this deck. It didn't get pulled in the Unspoken Truth deck. There's a card in the deck saying we're both waiting on each other to make the first move. That's this giving this energy, and I'm laughing because this card fell in reverse. This, you moved on, haven't you? It came out, but then it flew away, and then now it's flipped itself in reverse. So I think this was an energy that is no longer there. Maybe a fear, maybe between one of the energies that was no longer there. We're not clear yet because the Page of Swords is not giving us masculine or feminine. So far it seems like Spirit is scolding the both of you. Yeah, back in the day when it wasn't, such a big deal to discipline your children a certain way. Sometimes you all was getting it. You be like, I didn't even do nothing. I get, swirled into it. But anyway, Page of Swords. This is a truth that is, realized. Yes. Again, with the things that they never got to tell you, there's a truth realized that you're worthy of love. No proof is needed. You come further than you think. But there's something that needs to be communicated. And that's what Spirit is addressing here with the Page of Swords, period. Okay, let's do one more from the Tarot. But my last message was clear. It doesn't seem like y'all are going to get away from that root and rise. I'm going to put myself in that, okay? I'm not like, it's just all of you. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to come off judging. Coming off judging. Truths, no matter if it's about relationships of any kind, and circumstances, situations aren't always very easy to tell. Especially what is if there's a lot of different things surrounding it, and there often is. There often is. So truths aren't the easiest to say sometimes, okay? So we're not going to act like it's just so simple to do. Oh, the Hermit. Yeah. Bottom, Five of Cups. It's still addressing, the Five of Cups is on the bottom. Still addressing some hurts. But I wonder, though, if it's not past hurt. Since there's a truth here that needs to be communicated, you know, this emotional pain, some emotional losses, and, you know, things like that, gone through some things. But this can speak of other things. This can even be current, all right? Since there seems to be an unspoken truth here with the Unspoken Truth Oracle deck literally pulling the card, there are things that I never got to tell you, all right? And it looks like what is being told is you're worthy of love. No purpose needed. You've come further than you think, all right? So it's probably addressing some things with one another. One may be saying you've come further than you think, boo. I'm just saying. And the other may be saying you are worthy of love. No proof is needed, all right? All right, it may be addressing that. And why I say that is because it may be because what actually came out was the Hermit. All right. The Hermit is like going inside, away from everybody. Not in isolation, for isolation's sake. We've gotten this card before, but sometimes to think things through, think things over. All right. Page of Swords says, you done thinking. It can also be a truth realized in a thought, yes, but this looks like you need to communicate it. Hermit's going inside to kind of, you know, get some spiritual clarity, get some clarity about something, think about something. How do we do this? How do we move? Five of Cups may speak of that. All right. This may be speaking of, you know, being away from the divine connection. All right. Not in the, but let's clarify it. Let's see. Even though it's on the bottom, let's clarify the Five of Cups. If this is talking about the past or if it's talking about what is next. All right, about this, you've come further and you are worthy of love to each other. And this, my finger went like this. What I spoke of earlier, that's the Three of Pentacles. This is what y'all gonna be doing together, rooted and rising, your divine connections and your pairings and however you pair yourselves. Business partner. You're proof that love doesn't have to get in the way of success. With the right person, it fuels it. That is exactly what the Three of Pentacles is. All right. Power couple energy. Y'all are making moves together. All right. But let me actually pull a card on this Five of Cups. I suspect it's about just kind of being away. Not really the unspoken truth to the divine connection, more so than the past. But it could be about the past. So let's see. It may be. So we want to... oh, Lord. Oh, God, no. I don't know. One of y'all like, I don't know. Rooted and rising. Y'all are fertile or what? But you'll get very Empress energy. This doesn't take it literal. Okay? If literal doesn't apply to you, don't take it literal, but you may. It may literally apply to you. Okay, it's just parenthood. Okay. And this is, you're on the same page on what you want when it comes to having children. And that shared vision is a part of what makes this love so solid. Okay? If you're not on the same page, this is not what you want. Basically, the card is saying that you have a shared vision. This was on the bottom, business partner. Three of Pentacles got pulled out. All right. And that's collaborative energy. So you're on the same page. If you're not on the same page, you can't collaborate, can't work. You know, if you ever had a group project in school, I hated those to absolute death. Oh, I because you always had one in the group that just didn't want to pull their weight, right? And that would cause everybody to suffer. It's the same thing. If you're not on the same page, you can't collaborate. So that's always the same. You may indeed be on the same page with children, okay, with parenthood. But mostly what it's speaking is to being on the same page, period. And that's what the Five of Cups is about. It's just being away from who you're on the same page with. You haven't communicated it. But the Page of Swords says that you need to speak. The Hermit says processing. Thinking, processing. All right? And Page of Swords says, okay, it's enough of that. Small message is all that's needed. Okay? Spirit is reiterating that. The last one really was about that. All right? But I'll clarify whose unspoken truth is what. And then we'll close it. All right? And then we'll close it. So I want to see. You've come further than you think. If that looks like the masculine or feminine energy, you know? We'll see if Spirit will be clear. Because it may just be like both energies. And sometimes Spirit is like, no. Open up your mouth with the Page of Swords and you'll find out whose energy is what. Rooted and rising, there's something that you need to communicate. And if this is not a connection again, it may be about a situation. What's my dog doing? Will you stop? Maybe about a situation, circumstance, and whatever mood, temperance, balance. Sounds like it's both of you. Everybody's getting in trouble, okay? Everybody's getting the whooping, all right? You come further than you think. But it's about balance and evening things out, things being right. Whatever was wronged, this is making it right. Spirit is not wanting to give a definite what energy is what. No. Well, that flipped out. I should have pulled it. What turned over? I end up shuffling because sometimes I go so fast I don't see it. What stuck out was the Knight of Wands. Knight of Wands, very fiery message. A very fiery, passionate movement, I should say. Usually with a message, saying something that usually can indicate masculine. You've come further than you think. But this flipped out. The World. That's something completed. Something is reached its completion. And then this, what we were talking about, Five of Cups, flipped out with it. All right, Knight of Wands. You've come further than you think. All right. You've come further than you think, Knight of Wands. That is likely the unspoken truth to you, either from your divine feminine or spirit, period. All right. You've come further than you think. Knight of Wands, that is a very fiery, passionate movement, full of energy and confidence towards what you want. The World has completed this. All right. This is over. Five of Cups, you know, feeling at an emotional loss towards something, which for you is your divine connection, the parenthood, being on the same page as this person. You know, that other one may not apply to you, but being on the same page is what you want. And you're on the outside of it. It's bringing some sadness because you're processing, and not speaking. But Spirit is saying balance. You know, everything that was not balanced, everything that was uneven, unreciprocated, unfair, not right, temperance is balancing it all out. That's what this connection is about. All right, you are worthy of love. No proof is needed. Whoa. Oh, all the cards want a shot. This is lots of energy sometimes on the cards. And they're like, plop. Like, I'm going to throw them all out here on you. The whole deck. It was interesting looking at that card. I didn't know what it looked like. Eight of Wands. Yeah, a lot of movement. That's what you're doing in the cards. Shoo! Eight of Wands is quick, fast, communicative movement, unhindered. It's wand energy, but it moves fast and communication. So I think that's what it is. Queen of Cups. On the bottom. going to say, who is, you are worthy of love, no proof is needed, Queen of Cups. That's the divine feminine. All right, divine masculine, you've come further than you think. You take that how it applies to you. Divine feminine, you are worthy of love, no proof is needed. And that's shut out. Knight of Pentacles. That's a very, what shot out was the Knight of Pentacles. After I said that, again, that's movement. It's a slower movement. Pentacles is slower energy, but it's grounded and stable movement. It is saying, hey, I'm here to offer you something real, something stable. All right. Not full of nonsense and games. That's the Knight coming towards. You are worthy of love. No proof is needed. All right. Not here to play games with your girl or whatever your parent looks like, okay? Eight of Cups. It's at the bottom. That's the emotional walk away. All right. All right. That's walking away from nonsense and things that no longer serve you. I think that's both energies. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and close it because Spirit wanted to reiterate the opening of the mouths between both parties. Literally in this deck, we did not get it. I am so surprised about both are waiting for, it's like, it's a man and a woman. And again, please put yourself where you fit. All right. They're sitting with their backs towards one another, both on their phones, and saying we're both waiting on each other to make the move. You go first. No, you go. No, you go. I'm not going. You go. You say. Both feel very deeply, but both are like, standing my ground. No, I'm just saying. Things aren't always easy. Both seem very guarded, rightfully so. But Spirit is saying you're both on the same page. You want to collaborate. You've got a business partner. So someone's who's going to help you out. You are going to build and grow together. You're not going to just sit still in whatever way and capacity that they can help. And then you are on the same page. Whether it really is about children or just as a whole, you're on the same page. And you have to be, because Three of Pentacles energy can't have one person doing what the hell they want to do and go anywhere. No one's gonna go anywhere. If one is dragging, you may get there very slowly, or it's just you can't carry the weight and it's going to break, or it's going to end. You can't do it. Can't move. Okay, I won't go any further. All right, rooted and rising. Looks like the Temperance card is, evening everything out. Nice, healthy balance, and it's saying overall, you both need to speak, as what Spirit said. Spirit didn't say divine masculine, you know better. Divine feminine, you need to. It said both of you. All right, everybody's getting a whooping. All right. Okay, that's it for today. Good talk all the same. That's it for today. Okay, all right. Rooted and rising, as always. Stay rooted, stay rising, and aligned with all the divine gifts ahead.